Elections, they're kind of a big deal. In America, they're the bedrock of our democracy. It's how we choose the people who represent us, the ones who make decisions about our lives, from the president all the way down to the dog catcher. Okay, maybe not the dog catcher, but you get the point. The U.S. Constitution. It's a bit of a dusty old document, but it lays out the ground rules for our elections. It doesn't tell us everything, mind you. A lot of the details are left up to the states, which, as we'll see, can sometimes lead to complications. But the basic idea is simple. Every citizen gets a voice, and they get to use that voice to choose their leaders. It's a powerful concept, and it's one that people have fought and died for. Now, you can't just waltz into the Oval Office. First, you gotta win an election. And not just one election. Oh no, we like to drag things out a bit. That's where the primaries come in. Think of the primaries like a giant, messy family reunion. Except instead of awkward hugs and potato salad, you've got politicians vying for their party's nomination. Democrats duke it out with Democrats. Republicans spar with Republicans. It can get pretty heated. Once the dust settles, we're left with two contenders, one from each major party. And then the real battle begins. The general election. It's a clash of ideologies, a war of words, and a whole lot of baby kissing. In the end, only one candidate can emerge victorious. So, you want to make your voice heard? Great. Now how do you actually vote? Well, that depends. America, land of the free, home of the slightly confusing electoral system. In some states, you can just stroll into your local polling place on election day, cast your ballot, and be on your way. Easy peasy. But in other states, it's a bit more complicated. Early voting, absentee voting, mail-in voting. There are more options than flavors of ice cream at a hipster cafe, and each state has its own rules and regulations. It's enough to make your head spin. Section 4, the law of the land, safeguarding the vote. Now you might think that the right to vote is pretty basic, and you'd be right. But ensuring that right for every eligible citizen is a whole other ballgame. That's where election laws come in. Federal laws, state laws, local laws, it's a real legislative smorgasbord. You've got the Voting Rights Act, the Motor Voter Act, and a whole host of other laws designed to protect voters and ensure a fair election. Sounds great in theory, right? But in practice, it's not always so simple. These laws can be complex and they're not always enforced equally, which leads us to Section 5. Challenges on the road to the ballot box. Ah yes, the challenges. We wouldn't have a system without them, because apparently making it easy for citizens to vote is just too much to ask. Voter ID laws, gerrymandering, voter suppression, these are just a few of the obstacles that can make it harder for people to exercise their right to vote. And let's not forget about misinformation. In the age of social media, it's easier than ever for false information to spread like wildfire, and that can have a real impact on elections, confusing voters, sowing distrust, and undermining the very foundation of our democracy. Section 6, towards a more perfect election system. So, there you have it. The American electoral process in all its messy glory. It's a system that's full of contradictions, complexities, and challenges. But it's also a system that's constantly evolving. There's always room for improvement. We need to make it easier for people to register to vote. We need to ensure that every vote is counted accurately. And we need to combat misinformation and protect the integrity of our elections. The right to vote is precious. It's the cornerstone of our democracy, and it's up to all of us to protect it. So stay informed, stay engaged, and most importantly, get out there and vote.